With regard to interference with child custody 2503, we've been told, at least as far as I understand, that this is something that the district attorney has. It seems like he or she has the ability to decide whether to take the case or not take the case. A lot of times the police say, well, it's not a criminal matter or anything like that. It's actually a civil matter. And you're talking about issues like parental alienation. When you talk about child custody interference, it seems that those two things go hand in hand. And I just was wondering what your approach to this was, what you would do as district attorney.
It's funny that you say that, Jeff, because when I was a prosecutor, I actually had one of those cases. You know, and thinking about these cases, of course, the leader at that time was different than the current administration now. But it was something that I prosecuted when I was a prosecutor back then. And so the law is there for a purpose, for a reason. It's to keep everyone safe and to hold everyone accountable. So certainly, it goes, of course, to the law enforcement agency. They get all the information, all the evidence, everything to document a pattern of them interfering with the child custody arrangements. Then it certainly gets to the DA's office, and we talk to the parents involved, the parties involved, to prosecute if it needs to be prosecuted. But it's certainly a law that is on the books, and the prosecutor is not to pick and choose a law. That's not the job of the prosecutor, and that seems to be going on right now by this current administration of picking and choosing. The law is there for a reason. My job is to uphold the law, and I will enforce that law.
And that's very, I thought that's very interesting, because you're talking about also you're a person of faith.
Yes.
And in Ecclesiastes it says that when a sentence is not executed properly, the hearts of men grow bold to do evil. And I think that we need to have that type of leadership, that tone from the top, that this is a very serious issue. This is a state jail felony, and that we need to no longer accept this. But that's my opinion.
No, and as a woman of faith, you have to be bold sometimes. There will be times where I'll make a decision that not everyone will like. But my job is to lead, and I, of course, pray for wisdom from God Almighty, and to go ahead and enforce the laws that are currently on the books.
Thank you.
And so I wanted to bounce off of that a little, because we have dealt with that quite a few times, and we have dealt with the Waxahachie PD and Red Oak PD, and both told us exactly what he said. DA's office is not going to accept it. So when you are elected, because we know you are going to win.
Amen.
When you are elected,
naming and claiming it, yes.
How do we remedy that situation? Like, do you contact the police chiefs and say, do write these up? Because they won't even write things
No,
up.
of course, and that's a great question. You know, I was a felony drug prosecutor here, prosecuting cocaines, possession of cocaine, possession of heroin. When I was a drug prosecutor, I personally went to every law enforcement agency in this county, and I spoke to the chief of police there, and I said, this is what I need. What do you need from me to be successful to prosecute these crimes? So of course I would do that. I have a history of doing that. I will go to all those agencies and say, okay, what do you need from me? What do you need from the parents? What do we need to be safe in our community? Because we certainly don't want any, tempers flare in child custody cases. You know, we just had these holidays, we had Christmas, tempers flare. And so in order for there to be safety, we need to talk about those laws and enforce those laws. Yes, sir.
I'm just going to piggyback on it. I have 6 children going through a divorce, and I have 50-50 custody with extended standard for the youngest 2 that are here.
Right.
And for the last 3 years, really, but 1 year since the paperwork's been in place, I haven't seen 4 of my 6. At Christmas, I went to go pick them up and was told, no, they're not coming, they don't want to go. But the enforcement is supposed to be from her to foster a relationship with the father. I called the police in that city multiple times, sometimes wait 5 hours at night after dinner until 1 in the morning, and they show up and go, it's a civil matter, and they drive off. This time I told the officers, I will be filing charges against both of you, your department, and I'm already neck deep in divorce debt. I'm going to go all the way just to make sure that someone listens.
Of course.
And he paused, and because he saw I was passionate, he went and talked to someone, came back and said, you're right, we have to enforce 2503. She has to put them in the car.
Exactly.
Even if my oldest is 17, he said, even her, she's not 18.
That's right.
He said, we just didn't know this. And I think the big thing that you could help with as DA would be to inform the police departments, just the laws that are on the books, because I think they'll work if someone knows, but a lot of guys think that it's a civil matter, and I used the analogy that if I was in prison for murder, my kid could still come see me. But I'm a dad, pays my child support, goes above and beyond. I'm at every school event, everything, every week, and I haven't seen 4 of my 6 in 3 years.
Thank you for that comment. That is tremendous, because the current administration, you know, they may have conferences ad nauseum regarding DWI enforcement. But where's the training for the rest of the laws that are on the book? Where's the rest of the education for the rest of the laws on the book? There is none, because they don't want to deal with it. I am not that way. I fight for my kids. I've been fighting for my kids for the last, 22 years on that little one, who still is at home. But I have children. I hear you, and you're absolutely correct. And that's one of the things that sets me apart from my opponent, is that I am listening. My opponent will get up to a meeting and say, I know there's room for improvement. So you've been there for 16 years and you haven't improved it? Are you kidding me? Then you got to go, okay? And so I am standing up to do just what you said, because there's plenty of work to be done, and I'm ready to do it.
Yay, that's good to know.
Based on what you just said, you might be a little bit familiar. I'm Samuel's brother.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you might a little my
Trip.
Yeah, a little out there. Kind of the same position he's in. I'm currently in a divorce that's going over a year now, and it's still not final. But anyhow, we have a 50-50 joint custody conservatorship, which is all fine and dandy. What do you do when the ex-wife brings the drug dealer around the kid? That's currently locked up for methamphetamines.
I mean, they're supposed to be providing a healthy environment for your child, and if that's not healthy, you need documentation about that. And now that is interference as much as it is a child custody issue, right? So, I mean, that's more the civil matter, where you'd have to go back and explain to the judge, this role model is inappropriate for my child, and I don't want my child to be exposed to this drug dealer. I don't want that. So that's the civil case, not so much the interference thing. But yeah, those are the fine line nuances that the agencies, our police officers who do a great job, need to be informed about.
Thank you.
Thank you.
People that habitually, I mean, obviously you're staunch on it. We come from a place where there's someone that worked in the court system themselves, knowing the law, knowing that it's a civil matter, and using it habitually to their advantage. What happens in this case? I mean,
Documentation. The officers need evidence. I need evidence to prosecute. It's documentation. It's their text messages or Facebook. You go pick your child up, your child's screaming and yelling, you hold a newspaper. Click, get it done. But if I don't have the evidence to prosecute, I can't do it. So when that happens and there's certainly a pattern of abuse and they're not listening, then you have it all ready to go. And I think you talked about earlier about incident reports.
Yes.
Brittany was telling me earlier. Offense reports. You were talking about earlier how, there was this fine line. Is it interference? Is it not interference? But the agency in her particular neighborhood was recording this as an offense report. So this was already recorded. There was a pattern. And so when they would go back and look at this address or pull up your name, these offenses would pop up. And that's phenomenal. But just think about, you have to play CSI.
Absolutely.
You have to play CSI. If this is going on, then I need the evidence to go ahead and prove it and stop this. And I guarantee you, we will get their attention. This will not happen anymore, because you know what? We take one, that's it. They're not going to want to play anymore. And the woman who works in the courthouse or whatever, she's going to, oh no. See what I'm saying? And that's just to keep everyone safe.